Justin, thanks for sitting down with us once again. It's now over a year since Kosu officially took over the club. So how do you assess the journey after one full season as we head into this second season of the tenure?
Yeah, it's been an incredible journey, ups and downs, lots going on. It feels like it's been more than a year, to be honest. Last year had everything and obviously culminated in that Wembley experience. So how do I assess it? For everything going on, I think the goal of last season was stability, and I think we've achieved that without going into too much. So we've got a good base to build on, and now what we're really trying to do now is progress and just keep moving forward.
Yeah, we're 8 games into the new season, and it's been a very good start. Of course, you mentioned that the way things ended last season, unfortunately, and of course there was a lot to learn from that. But do you feel like there is still a sense of momentum that has been sort of carried through into this season with just sort of growing the fan base and also some of the performances on the pitch as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think last year started with momentum that was because of the takeover, let's call it off field. What I love about this season is that momentum has gone to new levels because of on-pitch stuff. The playoff run was so exciting. We didn't get the result we wanted at the end, but that whole playoff run was brilliant.
Yeah.
And I think season tickets are up this year, crowds over 8,000 in every home game. Our away support's been fantastic on some pretty long journeys already at this start of the season. So that's the best sign that there's momentum around the club, is the fan base. People are engaged, they're turning up, they're supporting. On the pitch, it's been a really solid start, obviously just over 2 points a game.
Yeah.
Early doors, and there's lots of teams performing well, but I've really enjoyed watching the games, really dynamic, attacking football, and I've certainly enjoyed it, and I know the fans I speak to, and I try and speak to as many as possible, are enjoying it, and it's just nice that all the momentum at the moment is driven around on-field positivity.
Definitely, yeah. 4th in the table, we've got big game tomorrow, of course, and there have, though, been some sort of challenges during the summer which we should talk about and touch on, because it's important that we address some of those issues. Could you sort of speak a little bit about how the club has sort of tried to respond to some of those challenges that we have encountered?
Yeah, I think we should. There's been lots of plaudits for all of us since we've been on the scene. The last couple of years has had so many positives. But we've got to put our hands up when we get things not quite right. We had some issues with stadium cleanliness on the first day of the season. And we've had sort of lingering issues with toilets. So we know we're in an old stadium. I'm sure we can make excuses that things break more than they should, etc. But we've fallen short on some of the sort of stadium readiness stuff that we would expect of ourselves, and certainly that we expect for our fans. So my apologies to those people who have sort of been impacted by that, and I just want to let you know we're aware of it. We put our hands up, and we're going to work to resolve it. And there's been a couple of instances. Meet the Blues Day is intended to be pre-season. This year it's happening in October. I won't list them all. I just want fans to understand that we know that when we fall a little bit short in our standards, we see that, and as a team we're sort of going to put our hands up and try and correct it and do better going forward. But you're right. We've got to put our hands up every now and then. Yeah,
of course. And there's a lot of ways that the fans can get in touch with us, and there's a lot more touch points now that we've put out there for mechanisms, I suppose, that we can try and listen to fans with Youth Advisory Board now alongside the Fan Advisory Board, and lots of other sort of mechanisms. As I said, how important is it to be continually listening to our supporters?
For me, it's absolutely integral. As the chairman, and as a collective board, our job is not to just do what we think. Our job is to impart. It starts by listening to the fan base. The fans know what they want from their club. They know what their priorities are. Of course, you can't do everything, so our job is at first to listen, and then, of course, our job is to balance out near-term, long-term, on the pitch, off the pitch, of course, and everyone might choose a different balance, but ultimately it's our job to find that balance. But the starting point, as soon as we came in, was to go, right, let's make it a lot easier for fans to tell us what they want to do in different ways. We've done that. The survey that we've just completed, quite a big survey with lots of responses. So thank you to those people who took the time to fill in that survey. I do want to assure fans, I read them all. Every result, every comment. some more interesting. But I read them all, and I make sure that as a board we're understanding the messages that are coming from these various formats, and it does directly affect what we do and the priorities we set and the strategies we set. So you do have a voice, and what I can do is assure you that voice is listened to, and it does form part of what we do going forward. So
yeah. In your programme notes at the start of the season, for the Tamworth game, the first home game of the season, you mentioned about how last season was a season for stability, and you want this season to be a season of progress both on and off the pitch. Alongside the club's sort of 5-year plan, what are some of the sort of more short-term objectives that the board want to achieve this season?
Yeah, I think it's easier bringing stability, to be honest. You pay all the bills on time, and you do the things that you really should be doing, and it brings a level of stability already. It's a lot harder making progress in general, right? You've got to make the right moves. Sometimes you've got to disrupt a little bit. So as a collective, we always want to be moving forward, and we're going to do that together. But that's our challenge this year, on and off the pitch, is to keep making strides forward and build on the solid foundations we set last year. Our top priorities sort of over the 5 years a lot of it will remain around renovating Roots Hall and bringing this place up to the standard that we want of our home, and really bringing it into the modern day. I guess the biggest priority outside of moving that, and of course giving Kevin as much support as we can to try and get promoted, let's not lose sight of our sporting ambition. I'd say it's the match day experience. Toilets, food and beverage, the welcoming, slightly big extension at the club shop, all those sorts of things that seem simple, but that's what matters to fans. So just improving those sorts of things and making steady improvements throughout next year. What we don't want to do is have that culture of everything will be okay when we build a new stadium. I feel like this club's a little bit had that message for a long time now. So whilst those things happen in the background, we want to make sure we're just making small improvements all the time into how people enjoy their football.
Yeah. We said obviously Boston at home tomorrow, but currently fourth in the table, and also 4 consecutive home attendances of over 8,000. So attendances are fantastic. The supporters are getting right behind Kevin and the team, of course. I think, with 5,300 season ticket holders as well speaks for itself. Does that sort of talk and speak to some of the positives that we can build on? Yeah,
I think I've mentioned before, we want to be a championship club, for example. We kind of already have the League One championship fan base, so we've got the building blocks, and what we want to do is sort of grow everything into that. But that's the best place to start. And across the board, we're building our facilities. Our training ground facility now is a long way better than the one that the guys had to work out of a couple of years ago. How we operate as a club is improving. Our standards are rising. We're expecting more of each other. I mean, I've mentioned a couple of things in this interview that we need to do better. I should also point out there's a lot that's going well. I think I think you and Matt and your team are communicating really well with the fans. We've seen that in the survey results, that people feel better informed about what's going on in the club. So there's lots of great work happening from all of our staff across the place. And I thank them for that, whilst also keeping an eye on the bits that need to improve and making sure we're putting enough focus there. Our commercial department's grown. We've got more and more local businesses coming on the journey with us and helping us on that journey, which we're really appreciative of. Everything we do is for the fans. If you've got no fans, there really is no point. If you win and no one wants to see it, who cares? So we've got a wonderful fan base. They're a huge source of pride for, me and all of us. The crowds have been fantastic. The support the team gets is fantastic. Particular shout out to the North Bank and some of the atmosphere that's created there. It's the highlight of my week when we have these home games, is to just see so many people in the city coming together and really enjoying what the football club's all about. Yeah, brilliant. And what do you sort of want to see from the next sort of 3 to 4 months or so of taking the club forward from here? I think behind the scenes we're still progressing with the plans to transform Roots Hall. So fans were involved in some surveying recently, specifically about what they wanted to see in a new Roots Hall. So that's factoring into the planning. So there's a lot of work going in the background. Yeah. We'll obviously communicate it at the right time, but we'll only communicate it when there's something relevant to say. Yeah. So that's pushing away quite hard in the background. Obviously, Kevin's doing really well on the pitch. There's not much involvement we have there other than to be his biggest cheerleader and supporter. But we've got to support Kevin, and support can mean different things. And our job is to get the balance right and make sure we support the team. But really, it's around this match day experience, improving the facilities, improving the day-to-day experience, improving food and beverage. It's easier in some parts of the stadium than others to get good food, so we want to start to bring the standard up around the place, whilst also respecting we're in an old stadium with some restrictions. So we've got to work with what we've got and try and just to keep improving the experience on a match day for people. Yeah,
so keep turning up, keep bringing your voices, and keep getting in touch and telling us, where we can make these changes and improvements.
Absolutely right. I mean, like I said before, fans know what they want better than anyone. So keep telling us. We know that by asking, there's nothing worse than asking someone their opinion, then not doing anything with it. So you have our absolute commitment that we listen and read the feedback. Be a little patient with us, because not all feedback can be addressed overnight, particularly some of the stuff that's restricted by our stadium. But I guess my assurance to fans is we're impatient. We as in myself, the staff, we're all impatient to do more and grow into the club that I think we all think we can be. So bear with us, but know that your voice matters, and that we're listening, and that it does shape what we're going to do going forward.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks for your time, Justin.
Cheers, thanks mate.